Captain Logan! Quite a predicament you found yourself in. If only you'd stayed in the graveyard, this would have never happened.
I was looking for you. I followed all of your rules. I've done everything you've asked. Now get me back to the graveyard so I can finish your stupid game.
I can do that. But first I want you to understand why you are here. You are here because I wanted you to be here. I thought you might try to venture out into the darkness, so I left this little gift for you to find. I allowed you to indulge your favorite silly childhood activities for the last 18 days because that is how I see you. As a child. You care more about your nostalgia than you care for people, than you care for your responsibilities, than you care for basic human ethics.
Doomsvince, I'm a reviewer. It's what I do. Doesn't mean I don't care.
You don't care. You can't look past your own petty, pointless obsessions to see how what you create affects other people. You are a little boy who got a little taste of popularity and went mad with power.
I think you might be slightly overstating things.
You won't write about it in your journals for fear someone else might read them. But we both know that without you, I would not exist. And neither would they. You brought me into your world, and then without a second thought, you cast me out of it, because I wasn't exactly as you would have me be. Well, Captain Logan, this is more than Spawn Year for you. This is Doomsvince Year. Your chance to feel what it's like to be incapable of living up to someone else's expectations. I have forced you to live in my domain, by my rules, and make no mistake, Captain Logan, I want you to fail. Just as you set me up to fail. Oh, I have every intention of living up to my end of the bargain. And it will always be possible for you to review on time. But mark my words, I will break you before this year is out. And I can see your mind slipping more and more every day. Even here in your perfect wonderland, you're losing it. And you are beside yourself with guilt. As you should be.
I've made it this far.
But no further. If you want to return to the graveyard, you must promise never to leave it again. And if you ever come looking for me, I assure you, you will regret it.
And I suppose if I don't agree to that, I get ripped apart by your friends there.
Oh, they're not my friends, Captain Logan. They're just guns you built, that I'm pointing in your general direction. But yes, if I don't help you, you'll be dead in minutes.
Is all of this really worth it? Taking a guy away from his wife and child? Who are you affecting with your petty, pointless obsession?
I was created by a child. That is why you're here. Now beg.
Excuse me?
Like you did in the kitchen. Beg me to send you back to that terrible place. And then you can spend the rest of the year knowing you will never see any of your precious nostalgia again.
Please. I have to finish this.
I am Doomsvince, and this is day 143 of Spawn Year.
So, here we are again. Dear reader, I knew my return to this graveyard was only a matter of time, and I knew I would long for all the wonderful distractions from my childhood as soon as I left. But what I didn't realize was that the most intolerable part of all of it would be something I can reasonably assume Doomsvince wasn't responsible for: the cancellation of Spawn the Animated Series. I was understandably devastated by the plotting, more comic book pace Season 2, meaning paced like Spawn comics, not comic pacing in general, but that whole tragic 6-day experience was worth it. Season 3 was good. Actually, it was really good. I wrote pages and pages for every episode. So much involved, layered, engaging storytelling. I should have known that was the reason Doomsvince wanted me relaxed and off guard. I knew it wouldn't last, but I had no idea the whole thing would abruptly end just as Spawn was finally taking the reins of his life and about to go into completely uncharted space. And now, with the only Spawn incarnation I truly loved ripped away from me along with what turned out to be a shrine, not to everything that made me happy as a child, but a shrine to the real root of Doomsvince's intense, profound hatred of me, I returned to an existence once again devoted entirely to the Spawn that has been my bane for all but a very small fraction of Spawn year. And perhaps I truly deserve it. Doomsvince reads these entries, and I have too often divulged my plans and feelings in these journals for Doomsvince to see, as I foolishly did before entering the Black Abyss 19 days ago, so I don't want to comment on Doomsvince's alleged reasons for doing all of this to me, but I will say this. I know that I am partially to blame for what's happened to me, and I see now that the crimes that brought me to this place extend far beyond and before my ignoring of my own health and my family. Doomsvince, I know you hate me, and you have every reason. If you want an apology, I'll give you one. Just come here and let's discuss this like adults. I know you're reading this as I'm writing. No? Then I guess we're both children. I see. On with our childish game then. When I was watching the last 2 episodes of the TV show, I had no idea some of that material was based on comics I'd not read yet. In this issue, Spawn visits Granny Blake on his return from paradise, feeling trapped and disheartened and unsure of what to do next, much as I am. Granny is bursting with wisdom, the archetype of the blind elderly sage who has some brain-bending profound nugget every time she opens her mouth, always with the potential to change the protagonist's whole universe. Granny is the only person who truly believes in Al, thinking he's returned to Earth as a guardian angel, and that never changes, no matter how lost or pathetic Spawn might sound when he comes to her. I like that when she's briefly given the ability to see again toward the end, she still feels this way about Al, even knowing what he looks like now. I get the impression that she isn't as clueless about Al's return as she pretends to be, and how could she be? She's that wise, never wrong, sweet old lady type. I keep waiting for her to bake Al some cookies and predict when he's gonna knock some lamps over. She sees all the goodness in Al and ignores the evil, I think hoping to convince him to do the same. Al has repeatedly told her the afterlife isn't the way she knows it from the Bible, but even though he's dead, he can't shake her faith. It may seem ridiculous to ignore the facts that are right in front of her face, and Spawn is right in the middle of that convoluted topsy-turvy celestial battle that's brewing, and he can't afford to pretend. And yet, her faith somehow gives Al a little hope and a little peace, and that's worth everything, especially because she is apparently the only person who can talk any sense into Spawn. And even if her religious beliefs don't line up with what Spawn has witnessed, she gives him a lot of cold, hard truths he hasn't allowed himself to consider before. Namely that life, to quote the Joker blogs, is short, but eternity is forever. She advises Spawn to look past Wanda and figure out who he wants to be in his new life. Like in the TV series, Granny is sad to have outlived her husband Jack by so many years, but she believes they'll be together forever when she passes on. So she tells Spawn to let Wanda go for now, because they can be together for eternity when Wanda's time comes. Now, even if that's not exactly how it would work for Al because he's a Hellspawn, Granny gets through to him in a way Cog, with all his riddles and abstractions, never could, by reminding him of life's finality and the soul's immortality. Al and Wanda, despite Spawn being on Earth, aren't on the same plane of existence anymore. He wanted to break up her family, separate a little girl from her father for what, 30 to 40 years watching his wife grow old while he remained the same? Even if they could be together in the afterlife, would she want want him after causing her such pain. McFarlane and Haldwin's writing evoke all these considerations without bogging the story down with internal monologue. We see a light bulb go on in Spawn's head, and he never rationalizes or verbalizes anything. Granny is invaluable now, because she provides the first real, viable possibility of forward momentum, both for the narrative and Spawn's character progression, in ages. And yeah, it's day 143, I'm writing in my own blood again, I feel justified in saying ages. This is more concrete than a lot of places where it looks like Spawn might finally stop pursuing an impossible relationship with Wanda and move on. I'd argue even more than issue 50. Spawn has a real goal to move toward here. Figure out how to redeem his soul so he can spend eternity with his wife, instead of looking for some pointless temporary way to be with her. Knowing from his miserable visit to paradise that all these cosmic factions won't let him sit on his hands forever, this is the perfect time for Spawn to commit to choosing his place in this new, unavoidable existence. Like a lot of things, we could have gotten this 30 issues ago, maybe instead of issue 50, and the lead-up isn't anything like natural or organic, but color me impressed. Spawn lets Granny see her husband here too, and I can't believe I'm saying this, it's actually a little better handled here than in the show. We learn about Jack and Mary's past, and there's a cool parallel between Jack and Al. Jack was also a soldier in the Air Force, but he fought in World War II and was a true war hero, without the thirst for blood that Al had. But both Al and Jack were killed for following their good conscience. After the war, Jack was a lawyer who took dangerous cases because he believed in justice, and it got him murdered by a car bomb, which is how Mary lost her sight. Suddenly this went from the cliched blind woman who sees everything to something a little more interesting, and I can understand now why she sees something in Spawn no one else can. As in the show, Spawn pledges at the end to basically try to get his humanity back, though he doesn't say that again here. Spawn and I have both been expelled from paradise and have terrible challenges ahead of us, but dare I say, we may also each have better things to look forward to. Signed, Captain Logan.